Hey there you guys, welcome back. Today we're going to do another tour. It's that time of the month again. It's the end of August. Oh my god, the summer's going by fast now. Soon I'm going to be starting to watch, well I'm already starting to watch the temperatures to see when I'm supposed to start bringing things in. First it will be probably things like the bananas and then the elephant ears, and we'll see where things go after that. I'm just waiting for the temperatures to continuously be below 10 degrees Celsius. Anything less than that and they start to damage. Well, for the bananas. The elephant ears can tolerate it. A little bit cooler, they just stop growing. So yeah, behind me is the what is this one? The Colocasia esculenta Jack's Giant. It's doing beautifully. I'm not used to the size of this yard, so when I look at it, it doesn't look very big. But then when I get up close to it, it's pretty big. It's probably about 5 feet tall, or just about 5 feet tall, and the leaves are probably 2 feet long, at least. So I'll show you that. We're not going to touch on everything, but I just wanted to show you what's happening in the garden, things that are changing, things that I'm finding to be quite interesting. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled, and hopefully you see something you like. If there's something I don't touch on, kind of tell me where in the video it is, and ask a question, and I hopefully can answer something for you. Anyway, let's get to it. So let's do a pan around of the garden. It's doing rather well. I noticed I was getting a lot of yellowing leaves in the elephant ears. Let me get out of the sun. On the elephant ears, and I guess I found out that it's probably a pH issue. My pH in my soil is quite high. It's either between 7 and 8, and I've never had that before. Usually I'm around 6.5, maybe 6. So there is the backyard right there. So now let's just go in and talk about specific things. So this is the ice cream banana. It's finally started to come into its own. Like I said, I noticed that I had acidic soil. So, not acidic soil, alkaline soil. So I went through last weekend and I sprayed everything with all the soil with some aluminum sulfate. That's basically what you use to change your hydrangeas blue. It lowers the pH of the soil. So I'm noticing a difference already. Things are just growing a little bit better. It's amazing. Once plants are able to access the nutrients, they respond really, really well. So one of those things is this elephant ear. This is the Jack's Giant. Like, there's my hand on there. I've got a fairly big hand. Like I said, I'm 6'6", so my hands aren't tiny. They're not gigantic, but they're not tiny. So it's doing really, really well. I'm very happy with this. I think that they can reach up to 6 feet tall, so close to my height. I can't wait to see what happens in the future with this one. This is the Thai black banana. Tiffany, you'll know this one from your yard. It's starting to get some darkening down at the base finally, but it's not nearly as dark as yours. But the leaves are a little bit more short, like you were saying. The stem is not nearly as long as other bananas, and the leaves seem to be a little bit more compact in growth. They're not as arching, they're more upright. So this is the Alocasia Borneo King, and this is the one that was having the problem, the majority of the problem with yellowing leaves. New leaves would come out and they wouldn't green up. They would just be more yellow, and then we'd get the browning, like you see there. So since I've added the aluminum sulfate, the leaves are green now, so it's able to access the nutrients. So I've really got to look at my soil and try to do a long-term solution. I might add some peat moss in there, work it in the spring. Peat moss naturally has a pH of around, I think, 5.5, so it will buffer that down to a more usable level for the plants. And this here is Pretoria. It's looking nice. Again, finally starting to get some nice growth, just in time for the winter to come into play, or into fall. The rose bush is doing nice. Need to come in and prune off all of these old spent roses. I've got a photo of a frog sitting in one of the flowers from a few weeks ago. I should show you that. I'll put it in the down below, and check it out. It's really cute. A little gray tree frog. What is this? The butterfly weed is looking really, really nice. I really like the seed pods on the butterfly weed. It's in the milkweed family, so it's still got a couple of flowers going on, but it's just all going to seed, which is really, really cool. I've cut back a lot of the dill in the garden. It's still here, but dill will never officially be gone, I don't think. This is the big Brookmansia. It's finally starting to put out some flower buds that are staying. I wonder if that could be also pH related, because after I did the aluminum sulfate, the buds started to stay. So I've probably got probably 30 or 40 buds on here that are staying so far. This one has 1, 2. I thought I saw a third one on that little branch. So hopefully it will flower in time before the frost comes. They take a while to develop. But again, they also seem to be overnight sometimes. The obedient plant is finally starting to grow blooms. So if you guys have never heard of obedient plant, I recommend it. They're a lot of fun to play with. You can manipulate the flowers on which way they face. So that's really, really cool. Sometimes I do spirals with them. Sometimes I do them all clustered to facing front. Sometimes I just park them. I don't know, it's fun when you're bored in the garden and you're just wanting to, I don't know, relieve some stress. So yeah, obedient plant. I think they've got like a ball joint inside, so it allows the flowers to shift. The succulent baskets are doing pretty good. This one is not looking so good, but it's got new growth developing, so that's okay. But all in all, the succulents are doing just fine, looking pretty good. Elephant ear, this one is Borneo Giant. Not so giant. This is another one that got shot with the aluminum sulfate. Well, actually I did the whole garden with aluminum sulfate, so answers that question. How much did you do, Bill? Everything. So these guys, these are the spider lilies. They're just about ready to go dormant. They're starting to look a little sad. The other succulent pot, the sedum that was in here died, so I replaced it with another little, I'm not sure what that is, plant, another succulent to try to fill in this zone. But this one is doing really, really pretty. This is in the ice plant family. Lepidoptera, I think, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% sure, but it has the pretty ice plant flowers. They're supposed to be pink. Hasn't flowered this year. I was hoping that it would, but that's alright. It still looks pretty. I love the pink stems. Really dramatic. Need to come in here and weed a little bit this weekend, but the hostas are doing okay, except for this one. This is Jimmy Crack Corn over here. Too much sun. Who knew that I thought this was going to be the shady side, but it gets pretty well full sun. So this forest pansy redbud needs to grow so that it can shade off that side. And back here you'll see the bleeding hearts, and I still have some bleeding heart flowers, as you've probably seen via my Instagram, that they're still going. Not very strong, but I still have flowers periodically. And then this is a beautiful fragrant hosta. This one I believe is a Royal Standard. So there's a few hostas that have really big flowers and they're super fragrant, kind of like a rose bush, and I love them. So this one is really, really super. Next year I hope that they're going to grow a little bit better. They've all been moved so many times, like I've mentioned, in the past 3 or 4 years. So now they're in their forever home, so hopefully they do better. Their roots will get established and they're going to give us nice growth. This Abutilon is starting to revert back to a non-variegated state. I was getting worried because it was mostly variegated, and plants don't photosynthesize well, not very well, with a solid white leaf. They need to have some green in there with some chlorophyll in order to do their job. So I'm not taking these off yet. If I notice that the plant starts to revert solely to green, I'll take out the green. But right now I just want to feed the plant. There's no blooms, there's no nothing on here, so I want it to gain some energy, so hopefully it will flower. But it's starting to turn into a nice little plant. It looked sick for the longest time, and now it's finally starting to, it's all washed out by the sun. I apologize. But it's starting to look nice again. And then this dragon heart colocasia I'm a little disappointed with. The vine, the Diplodania, is doing beautifully. I love the flower on this Diplodania. It's so pretty. Again, so washed out by the sun. So yeah, hopefully it will take a turn for the better, but so far, not so great. It's supposed to have giant leaves. Anyway, let's move on. Here is Alocasia macrorrhiza lutea. So this one is doing okay. I don't know why it's so squat, why it's so low. I wish that the leaves were standing more upright, but I'll take it. I'll take it. And I've got some grow lights. You're going to see some grow lights here in the coming weeks. I've got one by Spider Farmer, and I think I'm going to grow my cinnamon under the Spider Farmer light because it's really, really strong. So stay tuned for that. When it comes inside, I'm going to grow it under a new light. Last year it did okay, but I want to give it a little bit more oomph for next year. And then this nice one, this one I call Peanut. This is my original Alocasia macrorrhiza. I've had this one for almost 20 years, and it looks beautiful. I always appreciate this plant. It never disappoints me. In the pot, I'm not sure what these annuals are. It's a vine, and it just flowers amazing, and it kind of just takes over. And here's the tower garden. It's doing really, really well. The beans are sprouting. It's not looking so sparse after I cut all the beans out. It looked pretty sparse, but now that they're starting to grow in, things are looking nice again. And we got all kinds of peppers that need to get harvested. More basil that needs to get harvested. Ooh! My habaneros are starting to ripen. As you can see, we've got some orange habaneros right there, and they're covered in spiders. Oh, gross. Oh well, at least they're keeping the bugs away. And these peppers are also ripening. These are sweet peppers, so we'll see how they do. I'll probably be coming out and harvesting those in the coming days. The Amorphophallus bulbifer is looking cool, and it looks like it's got a little baby bulb here, a little bulbul. Is that what they call them? A little corm developing at the top. Maybe when the leaf dies down, maybe that hits the soil and starts to grow. I'm not sure. But it looks like the cooler nights, as we're getting it down to about 12 Celsius, the cooler nights are probably prompting it to go dormant. Also the shorter days. The days are getting much shorter than they were. So some of you have been asking about the whalefin Sansevieria, the Masoniana, and it came outside. It's got a little bit of sun scorch, but all in all it's doing okay. I wanted to get it into some more light so that it actually grew. I found that inside I had it in too shady of a spot, and it wasn't really responding well. I would get one new growth a year, and the new growths were getting smaller and smaller. Like, they're tall, but it's not very wide. This is the very first one that it had, and it's much wider. It's probably twice as wide as the newest one. So I think that was due to not enough sun. So I put it outside, seeing how it does, and we'll make a decision for next year whether I'll put it back outside or whether I'll leave it in. But right now, it's doing okay. A little bit of scorch, but that's alright. All kinds of other Sansevieria. We've got the Bonsell, I think, the Starfish, Fernwood, and the typical mother-in-law's tongue. And this is a new acquisition. It's a cylindrica, but it's not a cylindrica. What is this one? Bacula? I can't remember. But it's different than a cylindrica. It has purple sheaths, and I think it's called a javelin. Not a javelin, a rod. Something rod. They're supposed to be more slender than a cylindrica leaf. So, and then over here we have all kinds of odds and sods, just little guys doing their thing. I've been taking cuttings of the hibiscus out front. You'll see that in a second. And I've been taking a few cuttings of the big Brugmansia, because I didn't want to bring in the huge Brugmansia this year. I think I'm just going to keep some little cuttings. So let's go to the side of the garden. Actually, before we get to the side, I just wanted to show you how the little carnivorous garden is that we planted this spring. I've got all kinds of new pictures on the, what one is this one called? This one is Tamak. So this one's really doing well. Again, this is a new picture. This one's a new picture coming out here as well, and then another one here. So it's been doing super. And then this one, this is the Sarracenia Orophila SM. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's got a really nice color to it, and it's got one new picture, another new picture, and I thought I saw another one growing up. There's a couple here that look like they're growing, but yeah, I'm very happy with the way things have been going. The wind has been my biggest battle. And then over here we've got the passion flower. I've been getting all kinds of blooms on the passion flower, but there seems to be nothing right now. But I do have a passion fruit that's developing. So far from ripe at the moment. It's still very firm, and it's also green. So I need to wait for it to turn into a purpley tone. I wish that there was some flowers out. This one looks like it's just finished. This one also looks like it's just finished. Also just finished. So I picked the wrong time to do this video. So the passion flower is doing beautifully. Now let's go to the side. So I have less of a sun issue over here, so that's good. So the plumerias are really putting on a lot of growth since I really started fertilizing like crazy. These guys are probably about 4 feet tall. So you guys have been saying that they're probably a little too young to bloom. Some friends that grew them at the same time from seed, or even a little later than me, or earlier? I don't know. I planted mine first. They've been getting some sporadic blooms on some of their seedlings, so they're of a good size. So we'll see what's happening. This one's starting to branch out. I don't know if you're able to see, but there's little nubbins growing there, so I'm going to get all kinds of branching on that one specifically. But each weekend I come out and I give it some bloom booster fertilizer. Over on this side we've got the cucumber. Need to come out here and water again. I think it rained last night, so I shouldn't have to worry. I was getting some powdery mildew on the leaves, so I think on Sunday last week I came out and I sprayed with a solution of baking soda, horticultural oil, and soap, soft soap, and it seems to have done really well. I need to come out and do it again. You need to really take care of the powdery mildew before it gets too crazy on your plant, because it won't be long until the complete plant is covered and then all of a sudden the plant is dead. So I wanted to keep this growing as long as the weather permitted, so I came out here with the spray. It's nice to use something a little bit more natural as well than to automatically go with a fungicide. So lots of cucumbers growing here, lots and lots. I like utilizing the fence as my trellis. So over here we've got some gladiolas that are starting to put out flower spikes. It's not as beautiful and straight as I'd like it to be, but I'll take it. I planted these really late, so I don't know what to expect. Oh, another flower spike is starting here. That one's a little bit more straight. So then we got some dahlias happening. Since the house is here and the sun goes over here, they're all reaching towards the sun. Next year, I think I'm going to be removing all of the grass here, and I'm just going to have this all soil, and I think I'm going to put the patio stones along the house, and I think I'm going to grow more stuff against the fence, because everything wants to grow towards the fence, and I can also tie them up easier against the fence than against the house. So that's what I learned. And some of these are really pretty flowers. This one's really nice. I'll be cutting this off very soon and bring it inside for a nice vase. And over here I've got to try to squeeze myself through. I've got some more dahlias. This one's super cute. I think that's called a pom-pom style. And then I've got another one over here looking pretty cute as well. And then this one is pretty magnificent. Hopefully it opens up a little bit more full. Usually the first flowers aren't the nicest, and they come into their own. And I'm starting to get some ripening on my tomatoes here. These are indigo, indigo cherry tomato, indigo something. So they're finally starting to ripen. They're all going to ripen at once, I'm sure of it. So this trellis is doing nicely. I don't know how much of a windbreak it is. The passion flower is absolutely going insane. I've had to trim it down. It was all the way up into the rafters, into the soffit, so I had to cut it down. I want to try to keep it contained because if you've ever grown passion flower, they can grow pretty fast. So you just want to make sure that they're under control. Haven't seen any blooms on this passion flower yet. I grew it from seed, so not sure what to expect when to see them bloom. It's supposedly a perennial, so I'll probably take the pot and dig it into the soil outside for the winter and see if it comes back. I don't want to plant it directly in the ground because I've been told that they are invasive at a root level, so I don't want that. So they'll stay in a pot, and then I'll dig them up and put them back in here in the spring. But the mandevillas are doing beautifully. We got some white ones and some pink ones, and then the little vincas down in the pot here. Had to water it this morning because it was very dry. And the morning glories are just being morning glories. They're not flowering very much, which is really disappointing. I might try something different next year. I think I'm going to go with gourds. I think I'm going to do some decorative gourds, because wouldn't that be cute to see them grow, and then in the fall I can harvest all the fruit and make a nice display in the garden with all the fruits. So let's come into the front. So the dogwood is finally starting to come back into its own. I think that the scorch was due to lack of water. The second we started pumping the water to it, it started to produce new leaves. It probably won't bloom in the spring, but at least it'll have a fighting chance. Up at the top it's still not looking so good, but sorry for the wind, but it's starting to look a little bit better. The other thing that I wanted to show you out front, this salvia is doing amazing. It's huge. Absolutely enormous. Is this hibiscus? If you've been watching my Instagram account, you've seen that I've posted a lot of photos of this hibiscus. It's really beautiful. It's ambrosia. It's a hibiscus, summer spice ambrosia. So I really enjoy that. There's not a lot going on here though. It all looks the same. Okay, so we're almost done. Just wanted to go through these pots with you. They're all doing pretty good, not terrible. The elephant ears aren't doing so great. They're usually much bigger than this, maybe twice the size, the leaves, as they are now. But that's alright. They might be getting a little bit tired. I might need to take cuttings from them and just start with fresh plants. As they start to produce trunks, they tend to not produce as big of leaves, so they might just be older plants. I've got the verbena is growing really nice. The plectranthus is doing super. I really enjoy how this grows, and I might take some cuttings of this and keep them over winter so I don't have to buy more in the spring. But I'm not sure. Sometimes overwintering things that are relatively inexpensive isn't really worthwhile. With pest problems and not enough light or whatever, they start to stretch. Yeah, it's not as good. But since they're not too expensive, if it doesn't work well, I can just toss them out and not worry about it. But it might be fun to try. I prune this back fairly often. I come in and I pinch them out. I think I showed you in another video what I do. And yeah, it's just grown back to be an amazingly strong plant. And then down below, and then we've got this really cool, what is it called, lotus vine. It's supposed to have a flower, but it has not bloomed. But I don't even care. I love the way that it looks. I love the ferny foliage. Just really cool. And I love how it's draped down the side of the pot. I'd like to actually do more of that next year if I find it again. This one I might take cuttings of because I've never seen this before. And do a whole pot with it. I think it's really fun. And the banana's doing not too bad. This is the same ice cream banana that's in the back. I did 2 of them because one of them I'm going to bring downstairs and store like I normally do. And then the other one I'm going to try to store it dry. So cut off all the leaves and have it dormant. I've got all kinds of little ornamental peppers that are finally starting to do their thing. I think they're going to turn orange, but I grew these from seed. I saved some peppers from last year, and they're finally starting to do really, really nice. I really enjoy seeing those starting to be happy. We've got some more on this side, and we've got a hibiscus that's just starting to open. The leaves, maybe that one's just closing. I'm not sure. The petals are kind of icky. And then this one here is the same as the front one, or sorry, the last one, except as you can see the leaves are a little bit bigger. I'm not sure why they're not doing the best out here. Maybe I didn't fertilize enough, maybe it got too dry, I'm not sure. So this one is actually turned around. The Plectranthus is in the front right now. Usually they're spun around so they're exactly the same. So those are the planters in the front, and then this garden is what we're working on now. So we've opted to go with the hydrangeas, which I think you saw in the last video, and we put some variegated miscanthus. These are called bandwidth, so they're a little bit shorter than the zebra grass. These ones grow to be about 3 feet tall, so it'll be a nice contrast in height between the hydrangeas. And then I've just planted some ornamental cabbage. And I'm going to put some stuff in the center. I'm not sure whether I'll go sunflowers or whether I'll go fall mums or whether I'll go with a nice burgundy grass. I'm not sure. An annual grass. We'll see. I want to have something with long interest. I planted the cabbage now so they'll get bigger, save some money. And I didn't want to plant the mums yet because you only get a couple of weeks of good flowering and then they'll be done. I don't want to have to replace them. And then the elephant ears here. These are the neighbor's elephant ears at the back. He also enjoys elephant ears, so we like to trade back and forth. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this update, and I enjoy showing you what's going on, and hopefully it wasn't too long-winded and you enjoyed it. And let me know in the comment section below if you enjoy seeing these. And I know that they're probably one of the more popular ones that I do. Until next time, you guys, happy growing.